we're going to talk about one of the hottest topics on social media today, which is yapping content. And I can't wait to talk about this because yapping content is nothing new. Like yapping content has been around for a really long time, but it wasn't always called yapping. It was called talking head. Talking head reels was the thing that it was called, where you literally sit down and you talk to the camera while it's recording and then you create a post out of it. Those were called talking head, and now they were called like FaceTime or something like that, and now they're called yapping. Okay. And this is the craziest thing because I've been creating these posts since I started. I've been creating posts where I talk to the screen, I record myself talking, and then I create a post out of it since I want to say like I went as far back as I think 2021, but let's just call it 2022 when I really started to do this consistently. And I will say, even back then, every single time that I posted a talking head video, it went viral. This is what people want and they've always wanted it. But the thing is I hate the term talking head. So I started calling these chit chat reels because obviously I love chit chat. This is why I named my entire show Chit Chat with Chan. And I love talking. Like I love this. So I thought chit chat reels, chit chat videos would be a really cool way to name this. And I was saying that in my content over and over again, like you need to do chit chats, you need to do chit chats. And then all of a sudden I noticed that people were calling it yapping. And I did a simple shift of I stopped calling it chit chats and I started calling it yapping. And I started going viral for using the term yapping. And then we've all heard of the yap challenge. Okay. So it's a big deal to use this term yapping. And that's not what this episode is going to be about today, actually. But I wanted to get that out of the way because this phenomenon is really fun to watch, really fun to participate in, really fun to recognize how like certain language of certain things changes everything. And there's no shortage of people needing to learn how to talk to the camera and record themselves. There's no shortage of that. Like people need, especially in today's day and age, we all need to get better at communicating without texting, like without a script. And this is why I'm like, man, we're just highlighting something that's in demand here, which is yapping to the camera. One thing that I've noticed, because I've been teaching this method for years in my world, which I used to call chit chat videos, one thing that I've noticed is the women who struggle the most with this type of format, the yapping, they're almost always the women who have a lot of things to say, which is kind of ass backwards. Like you wouldn't think that it would be that way. But I think the thing that no one talks about when it comes to yapping content is we assume this sort of content creation is hard for the woman who doesn't have a lot of ideas, or she maybe like we would even go as far to say like she's not super intelligent, so she's not good at yapping, or we would say like she doesn't know her stuff, and that's almost never the case. That's never the case. It's never the case that she doesn't have a lot of ideas. It's never the case that she's not intelligent, and it's never the case that she doesn't know her stuff. The women that I watch struggle with a chit chat, a yapping post. The ones that like freeze when they're getting ready to record this, or they post this format extremely inconsistently, or they show up to create this post and you can immediately tell that they feel like they are performing something instead of talking. Like they're not just able to sit back and chill and like have a conversation. They're brilliant women. Okay, let me just tell you that right now. They're brilliant women and they are overflowing with things that are worth saying out loud. Overflowing. But somewhere in between their brain and the moment that they press the red record button, something gets in their way. Like it's a crazy thing that I've realized. I've seen it happen in real life. And we're going to talk about that thing today. Of course, the things that I do, I'm a scientist when it comes to my teachings. So I created a little, I don't know, framework for this. And what I want you to do as you listen to this episode is I want you to think about yourself, obviously, not from like this place of judgment, but I want you to diagnose yourself a little bit of where you are on the spectrum of what I'm about to present to you. Because once you know where you are on the spectrum, you're going to know exactly what your next move is to quite literally take over the sea of social media with your yaps. All right. There are what I've created as, well, what are we going to call them? Gosh darn it. I should have thought of a name for this before I recorded this episode. We'll just call them like the 6 blocks of yapping. That's really weak, but I'll work on that. But for now, the 6 blocks of yapping. And these are the 6 reasons that you're going to be stuck in different ways. And they're preventing you from basically becoming like this yapping baddie, okay? A baddie who yaps all the time and everyone watches her videos from start to finish. Like, you're known for your voice. There's 6 reasons that are blocking you from becoming that. So at the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly where you are on that spectrum, okay? I'm excited for you. Very excited for you. Let me just take a sip of my coffee. Thank you. Sorry, that was probably really gross because I was so close to the mic when I just did that. Can we cut that out, please? Anyway, I'm going to walk you through all 6 of these, and I named these after characters that you're going to recognize. I tried to keep them all female, but it was tough. So there's a couple males in here. Let's just pretend that they're females. When I get to the thing where you're like, yep, that's me, you're going to know that. You're going to feel it. You're going to be like, that's my block. That's the thing that I need to overcome. Okay, so let's just get into it. The first one is the Peter Pan. And the Peter Pan is brand new. She has not started creating yaps yet. Or maybe she has started and she's stopped so many times that you can't say that she has ever like consistently done this. She can't say that she's even inconsistent. That's how big the breaks are in between. Of course, the Peter Pan has things to say. She's not lazy at all. She's posting other formats, by the way, but she's completely overwhelmed by this gap between where she is currently and where she imagines that she needs to be before she can begin creating really good yaps. And so she's waiting to feel ready. She's the Peter Pan. She's waiting to feel like until she knows maybe like exactly what to say so that it sounds clear, so that she articulates it properly. And she's waiting until like things like the quality of the recording is better. Waiting until her niche is more defined, waiting until like someone can tell her like, here's the script to follow, here's the framework to follow. Okay, so here's what I want to say to the Peter Pan. If you're the Peter Pan, the readiness that you're waiting for is only going to happen after you get started and fall flat on your face a million times. Hate to break it to you, but like, you're waiting to be ready to do this and you're trying to like be fully prepared. That doesn't happen until you like the only way, what is the phrase? Like the only way to overcome it is by moving through it. The only way through it is through it. Something like that. Okay. You guys know what I'm saying. Like you have to keep it. You got to take action. You got to take more risks. You got to fail forward. Failing is going to, and when I say failing, I'm talking about like, you got to be that girl who's in 200, 300 view jail before you can become the woman who's in 200,000 view promotion. Like the beginning of starting your yaps is supposed to feel this way. It's supposed to feel tough. Okay. So you're not missing anything. You just need to get started. All right. Moving on to the next one. Let me get comfortable. The Dory. Okay. The second type is the Dory. And Dory is, she shows up, she posts, consistently. She's really trying, but she feels like she has no direction in what to say. And so every time that she sits down to create something, like she might have an idea when she's in the shower, but then she presses record and she's like, what do I even talk about? I forget everything that was on my mind. I don't know how to say the thing that I wanted to say. The question of what to say feels as fresh and unsettling as the first time that she ever created a post in her entire life. Like she does not have a through line of, she's like, okay, but what do I yap about? Like I forget, like, what is that again? And she will get some momentum in her yaps and then she'll forget that she did that. Like she'll be like, no, like I got to go back to this other format that I'm comfortable with. So she's starting over constantly and she's not inconsistent with this because she doesn't care. She really like craves being known for her voice. She's inconsistent because she does not have a foundation to draw from. So every video feels like blah, like meh, like I don't know what to say. I have nothing to say because she has not built her IP engine. So if you are the Dory and you're like, I forget what I'm supposed to say, I forget like what do I even talk about? It's because you don't have like a map. You don't have a source to pull from for these content ideas. That's why you're questioning what to say. So you're just keep swimming. That's the Dory. Okay. So the Elsa is the third type. And this is the one that's going to hit a lot of you. because Elsa does know exactly what she wants to say. Like she's got it. She's got it planned out. She knows she could write a whole speech about it. If you put her on stage, she is yapping. She has been thinking about this thing that she wants to say for days. Like it's been a really strong idea. And so she has examples that she wants to include. She has stories that she wants to include. She knows exactly how to tee this thing up. She knows exactly how to move through it. But then she sits down to record it. She puts on her makeup. She does her hair. She presses the red record button. And what comes out 45 seconds later is like stiff, hedged, entirely unrecognizable content that sounds nothing like the person she was in her head rehearsing this while she was on her hot girl walk. So the gap between the Elsa in her head and the Elsa on camera is she froze. Like she's frozen. Let it go. Like she totally choked. And again, that's not a knowledge or a brilliance problem. She's brilliant. She's missing out. What she's missing is like she's not giving herself the permission. So she's waiting for herself to be like she's waiting for herself to let it go. And to be honest, the ice that she needs to melt is the belief that she has to get it perfect before anyone can see this. Yeah, that's the Elsa. She freezes. Okay. Then we have the fourth type of block, which is the Bella Swan. Okay. If you don't know who Bella Swan is, that is Twilight. Let me just remind you, one of my favorite books ever. The Bella Swan, though, like Bella's like one of those characters that I could never relate to. And my personality is just totally different than hers. But we have a lot of Bella Swans in the audience, I'm sure. Bella is super smart, and extremely capable. She knows her subject. She understands the assignment. Like she can write beautifully. She can coach beautifully. But when she gets on the camera and records herself for a yapping video, it's so flat. Like there's no personality. And it's not because she doesn't have a personality. She has charisma. But on camera, it's like nothing comes through. There's no evidence to support that she has a personality. She's boring. She's very mundane. And the camera itself, the recording of the yap, is compressing her. So she comes across as, yeah, like I'm competent, but I'm not magnetic at all. Like I know my information, I know my stuff, but there's nothing about me that is addictive for people to watch. So she's doing a lot of like giving information, but not giving herself. Yeah, she's giving information, she's not giving herself. And she knows that, which makes every single video that she records, that she tries to do a yap, feel like an exercise in managing how much of the real her is going to leak through here. And that's not a personality problem. I want to make sure that I'm clear there because she has a personality. She's not able to translate the personality into the post. So it's a translation problem. And she hasn't yet learned how to carry this full version of herself and take up space with it while recording herself. That's where she's like missing. It's like my entire existence exited the room, even though she's recording herself yapping. Okay. Moving on to the Tinkerbell. This is the fifth block. The Tinkerbell. And again, if you're Tinkerbell, you already know this. You are extremely magnetic when you show up. Like your posts, your yapping posts, people respond to them. They love them. The engagement is real. The connection is extremely real. The potential is obvious AF to every single person that watches it, including you. You're like, damn, I killed that. But then you're Tinkerbell and you disappear for a week, for 2 weeks. Something comes up in your life and the momentum dips. And by the time you come back, you have to restart the entire, like the whole flywheel. And Tinkerbell's gap, let me be very honest with this, it's not talent. She has talent. The gap with Tinkerbell is she has no follow through. She's just not devoted to this. And the follow through problem, it doesn't have to do with her discipline. She's disciplined. So this is not the problem here. The thing that's missing for Tinkerbell is she doesn't have a system that would make showing up and creating yaps easier than not showing up. She doesn't have a system yet. So she dips in and out of this work. Okay, that's the Tinkerbell. Lastly, we have the Sherlock Holmes. This is the sixth type. And I would say Sherlock is probably the most advanced. She's the closest to becoming the yapping baddie, okay? She's the most advanced of all 6 blocks, um, which is why her gap is pretty subtle and often, for me, the most frustrating. Like, frustrating. Sherlock has done the work. She is consistent. Like, on paper, you'd be like, dude, she's killing it. Like, she posts every single day. She knows what she wants to talk about. She doesn't miss a beat. Yet, she is extremely analytical. She has studied the game. She is so focused on the proof of her yaps. She's looking at the metrics, the vanity metrics, like the views, the comments, the follows. She's paying attention to the algorithm. She's paying attention to what can she optimize, that she cannot feel the impact that she's already making. And I'm not even talking about impact on her audience. I'm talking about there's a huge part of the yapping content process that is not talked about by anyone that needs to be talked about, where this is like a true mechanism, in my opinion. Again, I'm getting off tangent here, but that's okay. Yapping content is your opportunity to put yourself in a self-discovery journey, 100%. It's like it's going to take bravery. It's going to take courage. It's going to take you learning more about yourself. It's going to take you exposing yourself. It's going to take you risking being seen. And for the Sherlock, she's in her head. She's only looking at the analytics before she's ever realizing the impact that her yaps have made on herself. And so she's in her head when she should be in the room. Like, she's forgotten that yapping is not a freaking science experiment. It's a conversation. It's an evolution. It's a journey. And the data that we're looking at, which of course I do look at data. I think it has its time and place. Again, I'm 50% strategic and scientific and 50% spiritual and soulful, like truly. So I do look at strategy. I do look at data. I do look at all these things. However, they don't determine anything for me, especially as far as like my joy of creating yaps. The data will never tell you what the women on the other side of the screen as well actually feel from you. It can't tell you that. So when your focus is so much on like, what am I getting from this? What are the metrics telling me? What are the analytics telling me? And less focus on, I bet this is a really good piece of content that changed a lot of lives today. I bet the intention of me creating this content is going to be the reason that it changes someone's life today. If the focus is lopsided, then there's a reason why you're the Sherlock and you're not the yapping baddie. Okay? So let's talk about the yapping baddie for a minute. This is the ultimate goal. The yapping baddie she's found her voice entirely. And when I say she's found her voice, it's like you can just, there's no way to articulate this or put this in words because you can't calculate it. But you've all watched those people where they talk and it just like feels it's dripping in authenticity. It's dripping in, she's exactly who she thinks she is. And it's a massive flex. That is the yapping baddie. And she yaps in her content completely unapologetically. Like, there is no holding back for her. And I don't mean that's going to look different on everyone, because there's some people who yap in their content and they do it like rah, like, like very intense, very aggressive. And then there's some people in their content that yap with a very soft voice and very calm. And that works for them because they are being themselves. So again, there's not one way of doing this. And that's why the term "she has found her voice" is what it is. You're going to have to find your unique voice to be a yapping baddie, and then do that without apology. She's also very rich. The yapping baddie is very rich in personal wisdom and earned perspective. And that doesn't come from like reading the most books or, I don't know, studying the most. Like, I'm talking about wisdom and perspective. That's totally different than the information that you keep in your brain. And the reason that she has the wisdom and the perspective is because she has processed her life. She's processed her work. She's processed her connection with her clients and her own becoming so deeply that she has a very deep, genuine point of view on almost everything. She has a point of view. She's also a teacher, but not in the academic sense where she's like sitting in front of you and she's delivering information and teaching you from a chalkboard. She is a teacher that actually thinks out loud or lives out loud. She embodies the navigation through life in front of you. And that is the content, truly. She also knows exactly who she's talking to. So she speaks to one person in every single yap that she creates. And because she does that, every single person who watches her feels like they are the ones that she's speaking to. Truly, this is magical when it does happen. It's really fun. Her personality, the yapping baddie, is also not something that she adds to her content. She doesn't like say like, "Oh, I need to add my personality." Her personality is the content. And her personality is not one-dimensional. It is multidimensional. She has one point though in every single video and she makes it. And she doesn't spiral. She doesn't ramble. She's not just filling time to fill time. She's not saying things just to say things. She's very intentional. And I could just keep going on the yapping baddie. She's a radical. I don't know how would you define that word? Radical, like intense anti-gatekeeper, very intentional. She gives away without fear. She gives away without she's generous in the wisdom and perspective that she's sharing. So for all the coaches that are listening to this, like your frameworks, I'm not telling you to go teach them step by step, but you need to teach what they are. Truly. That's like me right now telling you these 6 blocks of a yapper. Like that's exactly what I'm talking about. If no one understands what you understand, they will never see you as the authority. You need to understand that even giving someone your entire framework, it's not going to replace the transformation of what it would be like to work with you. The transformation is never going to be in the information that you deliver anyway. Like imagine someone in front of you right now. You could tell them the entire framework, even if they're paying you. Is that going to be the thing that changes them? No. So share freely. That's it. The yapping baddie. I'm talking to you, and now I need to get back to talking about the yapping baddie. The yapping baddie shares freely. Okay. She also, as I already mentioned, she treats yapping like her strongest self-discovery tool. This is a journey for her, and she really treats it that way. She creates yaps with the sole purpose, selfishly, to get better, to evolve, to learn something about herself, to learn the audience, the engagement, the whatever that looks like. But the DMs, the conversions, the new followers, all of that those are byproducts of her doing these things that I'm talking about as self-discovery. The practice in her mind is the point. And because the practice is the point, she doesn't freak out and lose her mind when a couple videos underperform. Again, she's not the Sherlock. She's not looking at the underperformance. Instead, she's like, "Oh, that video didn't do well. What can I learn from that? And I'm going to go post 5 more." She keeps it going. There's nothing that can hold her back. In her mind, it is succeed, and that's it. Okay, the yapping baddie is also a forever student, a forever learner. It never ends for her. She's obsessed with listening to podcasts. She's obsessed with reading books that teach her things. She's obsessed with analyzing her own clients and paying attention to them. She's obsessed with what's going on in her niche, not to a point of comparison, but she knows. She's obsessed with learning more about her own life. And this is what makes her yaps different than everybody else's. She is not recycling the common social media themes. She is, what's the word? She's synthesizing her own ongoing study, and she's turning it into something that nobody else could make but her. It's massive. So people binge her videos, not just for the information that she's talking about, but because watching her feels like something. Like there's this energetic quality to being in her presence, even when it's just on the screen, like not physically. Like there's this energetic quality. And she's gotten to this place where she doesn't have to perform anything. She's just so convicted in who she is, first and foremost, and in what she's saying. And she realizes that she's so convicted in that she doesn't need an applause. She doesn't need any approval or validation. She says what she says because she believes it. And the belief is the magnetism. So she also has very fierce opinions. This needs to be talked about because I created a TikTok on why I hate hot takes in content. And again, of course, like I feel like everything that I post will get misunderstood by a good chunk of people, but the majority of people understand me. But the ones who misunderstood me, they think that I'm saying we shouldn't be having opinions. I think a hot take is not, I disagree with that. I think we all have opinions. We are human. However, a hot take, in my opinion, is a cheap take. It's where you have your opinion. It would be like me saying this coffee mug is ugly and leaving it there. Like that's a hot take. And to me, it's like they always create this pessimism vibe to you. They don't provide any context. No one is either people agree with you or disagree with you, and there's no perspective on it at all. So for me, I call opinionated content perspective content, which would add substance, wisdom, lived experience, reasons to back it up. And so if you could say in your mind, like in my experience, or I've learned that, or in my humble opinion, like you give more to it. There's more juice than just the opinion. And the yapping baddie doesn't just say provocative things to get attention. That's what I feel like hot takes are. She says things that are extremely true for her because they need to be said. And she's not trying to prove anything. She's actually using her perspective to create more good in the world. And her perspective is never tearing people down. It might be tearing a certain problem down, but she's not tearing people down with her perspective. Okay. So enough on all of those things. I could keep going truly. I know exactly what the yapping baddie is and is not. But the most important thing about the yapping baddie is I need you to hear me and hear me very clear. She is not naturally gifted. Okay? No, she's not. She is compounded. And the ease that you see in the yapping baddie is now the result of probably 1,000 imperfect attempts that she made when the views were low AF, when the doubts were loud AF. And she could have stopped. She could have quit, but she didn't. She stayed. She kept keeping the mentality of wanting to improve her yapping content. And the consistency there, the delayed gratification is what made her, period. That's what you need to know about the yapping baddie. So here's the thing to note. All 6 blocks before you get to the yapping baddie is every single one of those blocks is solvable. And it's like, let me just recap here. So the Peter Pan needs the beginning, like she needs the start. The Dory needs the foundation because she forgets what she's saying all the time. The Elsa needs just permission to do this because she freezes. The Bella needs to learn the translation of her personality because she's a little bit boring on camera. The Tinkerbell needs an accountability system because she's in and out too much. The Sherlock needs to come out of her head and get into the intention of what yapping actually is. None of those blocks have a talent problem, not a single one of them. None of them have a potential problem. In fact, they're all extremely untapped potential, but every single one of those blocks has one specific solvable gap. And the first step to solving the gap is knowing which one you have, which block you have. Which is why, drum roll please, which is why I built a quiz to help you figure out which one you are. So you might have listened to that and you're like, oh, I'm for sure this. And then you take the quiz and you have a different result. I'd be very interested to know. But I want you to take this quiz. It's free. And it's going to walk you through a series. I think there's 7 questions maybe. And after they're all multiple choice. Don't worry. Don't freak out. It's not like you're not going to get a score. You're not right or wrong on this. But it's going to tell you exactly which archetype block, whatever we're going to call that, whichever block you have. And then it's going to tell you what the specific gap is and what to do about it. And then you're going to get an email with a prompt specific to the gap that you have. So it's going to tell you exactly what to do. So again, not blanket advice because you might be the Sherlock and someone's giving you the Dory advice and it doesn't work for you. So again, finding your specific block, the thing that you need to move forward to crush yapping content. The path from your block right now to the yapping baddie is not the same for everyone. I want you to know that. I've definitely discovered that in my own coaching observations. And so it's just like, you have to understand that, especially like, let's say you're the Elsa. you might need to work on something completely different from the Tinkerbell. And so I don't give everyone the same advice. I know my players. I don't tell everyone just be consistent. The Sherlock doesn't need to be told to be consistent. The Sherlock is consistent as hell. I don't need to tell the Tinkerbell to be authentic. I don't need to tell the Bella to know her intellectual property. So it's like there's so many brilliant women and there's so many different reasons why we are blocked and stuck. You don't need more general advice for this. You need a clear diagnosis, and that's what this quiz provides. So I'm going to drop the link to this quiz in the show notes of this episode. Go take the quiz, find out which one you are, and then stay tuned because we're building out right now resources for every single block. And this is just the beginning. We're just having fun with this quiz right now. If you're already a yapping baddie in progress, like you're like, I don't have any of those problems, or if you're like, I want more than just a quiz, then you can always slide into my DMs and we can talk through like what is the best option for you to get supported in your process of becoming this yapping baddie. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. This was a fun one, and I'm testing out this little archetype block thing that I created here. So I really appreciate you listening to this. And yeah, let's just like take over the world with our yaps, shall we? I love you so much, and I will see you next week. Mwah.